he's on the road with his fashion designer.
Yeah.
He's on tour with his makeup artist.
Is the fashion designer also a member of PIMA?
No, if he's a team,
Okay.
wardrobe. Okay, use the word wardrobe manager.
Okay.
He's the wardrobe manager. So so wardrobe manager that works with an artist is a member of PIMA.
He's a member of PIMA.
So he's
must be
DJ.
registered.
Yes. So when he's on tour with about 60, 100, 120 people, they are all PIMA members. So when we're designing this thing, like how many years back, I was wondering how come we're this much? How do we break it down until we started doing a couple of researches? At the time me and Junior started, just me and Junior were I think we're about 22 or 24. Yes, on the road. Because our
The
peace
act,
band.
okay,
Our
the
peace
act
band.
was 2.
The act was 2, but our
back,
band, another 14.
Yes.
Now you now have your manager, have your
Road manager.
have your wardrobe manager, and all that. So everything was about 22 or so. So we're going on tour. That was then. So these guys go on tour with more larger people. That's why I keep telling people, they will say, the crew that are going on film set and all that are huge. I said, no. If 5 major artists go on tour, they're already employing like about 500 people or over 1,000 people. So you understand how. I'm also giving you the statistics so you understand how we're able to make money from purchasing.
Towards purchasing.
And
then sustaining your insurance policies.
Sustain our insurance policy and also be able to do our license for the radio and purchase the equipment for the radio.
Okay. So when are you likely to come on the air with your radio station? That's in the Lagos area?
Yes, in the Lagos area. Right now it's been installed.
Okay.
So all the equipment are in.
Yeah,
so it's been installed, I think with, what do you call it?
Before the end of the year?
Yeah, it should be before the end of the year because they are coming to do the inspection and all that.
Inspection, okay. Okay, and then the zonal offices that you're planning, or let's not use the term offices, zonal operations.
Zonal operation, yes.
You understand me?
Geopolitical operations.
Geopolitical. The control is still going to be from the head.
It's going to be centralized.
Okay.
We don't want to leave any loophole in operations, right? Since we've gotten it right, we want to keep it that way. Okay. Because once there's a loophole, they take advantage of that. So what we've been trying to do since we got into PMAN is to close all the gaps and close all the loopholes. So the control is still going to be from Lagos. Even we have an office in Abuja, the control is still going to be from Lagos. So whatever that is happening in Abuja, happening in these other 4 geopolitical zones will be managed from the head office, Lagos.
And all the academies that will be over the 6 geopolitical zones, they're going to be running the same program? They're going to be running the same program.
Now, excuse me, because people in Calabar can't come to Lagos. Because if they come to Lagos, they need to...
It will be expensive for them.
So that's why we're taking the schools and the business
as close to them as possible.
Close to them. Now, also understand that we have a huge number that we're controlling. So if we say everybody should come to Lagos or go to Abuja, there won't be space for learning. So that's why we're creating those geopolitical zone schools that are close to where they reside.
Yeah. Now, if we go back to your personal business, you from a musician, a performing musician, you morphed into a consultant. What do you do now?
I still run it. I still run my promotion outfit. I still run my marketing communication firm. I have a technology firm. If you Google Go Create Africa, I'm the owner of Go Create Africa, so I still run my technology firm.
Go Trade Africa.
Go Create.
Go Create
Go
Africa.
Create. One action word. Go Create, like go and create.
Okay.
Go Create Africa.
Yeah.
I still running. I still own a music distribution platform.
Okay.
Go Distro.
Okay.
So Somebody say my hands are full. No, I'm still young, so
You're still busy.
still busy. That's the word.
You're still busy. Now, your vision is driven by somewhat personal commitment on your part. You told me that your children are musicians too.
Yeah. Not only at the time we came in together. At the time I came in together, I discovered that Sonny Age's children play guitar and they sing. Zaki's children play and they sing. Then back home, my daughter plays violin. She sings. My son plays keyboard. He sings. My second son is a vocalist. He sings like man. My last son plays drum. So now I am this kind of person that will not tell them what they should do.
That's the best thing.
No, I don't get involved because I had issue with my folks, and if I had listened to them, maybe I would have been a poor man. But I refuse listening. So I refuse listening to them. So I don't try to force my kids in whatever they are doing. So I lead them I just guide them. So the drive why we're able to get P-Man together is also to prove that what if these kids decide to be musicians? Mm-hmm. Are we going to leave this whole messed up structure, messed up industry for them? At one time, they might ask, Daddy, you used to be a P-Man member. What did you people do?
What did you do?
So you understand? So I'm trying to avoid that question. That's why we paid 120% attention to get P-Man working.
Okay. So, are you satisfied with what you're doing?
Satisfaction is understatement. Mm-hmm. I'm excited. I'm pleased with what we're doing, but there's opportunity of doing more. There's opportunity of getting it better because, like I said, Lagos is going to be Mecca for global music industry. We are running against the time. So the speed where Afrobeat has gotten to, we didn't know it was going to get there.
That fast.
Yeah, that fast. So we need to also keep the pace. Yeah. So we're doing more. There's opportunity of doing more. There's focus and consistency of doing more, and we're going to do more.
Yeah, because why I agree with you is that I was reading this song by CK, Love Wanted.
Love Wanted, yeah.
Right, that it's the first African song to achieve the 1 billion stream mark on Spotify.
Yeah. Never happened before.
No, you didn't say it, but that's unthinkable. That's unthinkable, you know.
So you understand what I'm saying? So you can imagine what these boys are doing. Now, the Americans and the Europeans, they are running after to catch up.
Yes.
How am I, is that the word I'm using? Am I using the right word? We're so much on a speed that they are trying to catch up.
Yes.
You can see what Rema is doing around Asia.
Rema. Even CK, I heard that he played a concert in India and the whole place was filled.
Yes. Now,
and they were singing along.
They were singing along, but let me tell you, that is they are closing down stadiums that even the Americans couldn't do.
Yes.
So that's why back home we need to
be organized,
properly organized.
Yes.
We need to put all our thoughts and focus together. It's an opportunity to take over the world, both in music and in structure. So we need to work towards it.
Okay. Let me wish you the very best as you lead the team and you realize the vision that you have set for yourself. My guest has been Pretty Okafor, P-Man president, Pretty of Junior and Pretty. But more than that, he's an accomplished gentleman who sees a bright future for the performing musicians of Nigeria. Thank you very much, Pretty.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Nice. Thank you so much. Thank you. Until we have another edition of the program, it's been Timeless Conversations. Have a good time.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
My name is David Oladimeji Olukemimako, a son of Awa, Ijebu, Ogun State. Here is my good old days story. I was born in Ibadan at St. Mary's Catholic Hospital, Oluyoro, Okiofa, to the family of Abraham Olukoya, Adeyinka Mako, and my mother, Olabisi, the only child of her mother, was from Iba, Imobi, in the Ijebu Waterside area of Ogun State. I was raised by maternal grandmother, Madam Odilia Taiwo, Mami Ekotado. I was a gifted fisherman even before I turned 10 years old. I left the village of Itase for Ibadan, and I got enrolled at St. Saviour's African Church School, Ekotado, Ibadan. Ibadan then became my world, where table tennis took all my attention in those growing old days. Traversing the various playing locations like Agbokojo, Racecourse Ibadan, and Liberty Stadium in search of fame and fortune. And as a young boy, I was very rascally and had my fair share of youthful exuberances. Ibadan Grammar School offered me opportunity for both education and sports. The school tempered my deviance, and the boarding house provided me enough activities to refocus for the future. Sincerely, for me then, no real role models beyond peer group influence. I had friends who were very studious. I tagged along, and I was better for it. Oliver Baptist High School, Oyo, and University of Ibadan provided enough experiences that shaped my life and contributed largely to my modest accomplishments in life. Of course, Lagos State welcomed me after my National Youth Service year, and since then, there was no looking back. I must admit that Lagos remains a land of opportunities and a great state for those who dream and labor. As I take a look back and mirror into the past, I saw exciting and memorable moments. Moments where the economy seems to be working. Moments where security was not a major issue on the front burner. Moments where communal spirits were high and trust issues were no challenges. So I wondered, where did we get it wrong? Will our children believe us when we say we had so much fun in those days? I appreciate how far this country has come from a population of 45 million in 1960 to 200 million plus today. Within the same land space, we need to now begin to be positive in our response to Nigeria. Our challenge now is to focus on how we can change the narrative. How instead of talking about good old days, be projecting into a future that is greater than our past. I am an accomplice and partner in this drive and desire to make our tomorrow better than our today. Shemore, I'm with you all the way in this journey. God bless our nation. God bless Nigeria.
This is the lounge, the TW Conversation Lounge, where we talk about everything and anything that matters to you and to everybody at home, but to us more importantly, it's our opinions we share. Now, today we're going to be talking about the other woman. Today I am the main woman. These are the other women. So I'll quickly introduce my other women very quickly. And in the house, we have Ifeoma Edigbe, our one and only financial analyst who has a bee in her bonnet for men because of our foundation that's called Boys to Men. And then sitting right next to her is I keep saying this Aburu thing, right? This is my Aburu. Looking very yella. Yella, serial entrepreneur, banker turned businesswoman, great event coordinator today, producer, presenter of the event show. And then on my immediate left is my sweet baby, you. Looking very elegant. You know, you see all these people from the middle belt, there's something about them, their voice. You know, it's kind of like mede. You know, Mariam Longe is a co-host on the TVC show that's called Your View. Today we'll be hearing her view on the other woman. And of course, my one and only woman who takes care of women who are having babies for the first time through her own, Anne. Anne is the newborn coach, but also she's a budding producer, budding presenter, mother and wife, and a lawyer by training. Gracias. This is the Conversation Lounge. The conversations will begin shortly.
Welcome back to the lounge. We're speaking about the other woman. There's so many perceptions, negative, positive, so we want to just have this conversation. Who really is the other woman? Let's start from there.
Yeah, let me start by saying you didn't even want to talk about this. I don't even know why.
No.
Eh? Nah. Are you the other woman?
And you don't want to imagine having somebody who's the other woman around your government, right? So.
No, but I think maybe definitions are right, because I was the one that brought up this topic.
Okay.
And the reason, why did I even think about it? I feel...
It's also what the guys say to them. I mean, they come on out there that they're more... The other woman on out there that they're more... The other woman, they're all young together there. No, but you know he's with somebody. They're all young together there. No, but you know he's with somebody.
The other woman. The other woman. We sort of even make her sound sophisticated. She decides the other woman. We sort of even make her sound sophisticated. She decides chick. What is chick? What is about decide chick? What I mean? Yes. I do not understand that why a girl would want to be a side chick, because I think most people look at a man and they see what he has, which is he has the house, the wife, the kids, and everyone sort of wants that. Nobody wants to be on the outside looking in, and then whatever crumbs that's left is what you get. So maybe the side chick is there. Maybe the only benefit for her will be she's there and it just puts her closer to her destination. But I don't see how, you know, any well-meaning human being would want to be the side chick.
Sometimes that side chick is a main chick, man.
But shall I tell you something? I think that there's a lot to be said for being the other woman. Okay. Mm-hmm. No, I'll tell you why. She's not bothered about the children and school fees.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And he can't come home and tell her that, you know, so she's just enjoying the benefits of being the person that is taken on trips abroad when he's going for meetings.
But there's some of these other women that already have their kids and all that.
That's different. But you know, but the thing is, so if a single other woman, even a married other woman, when they go abroad, the Gucci bags he may not buy for his wife, he will buy for her. The designer clothes he may tell his wife he's not buying, he will buy for her. Because there's something in a man who is dating that other woman who wants to prove to her, his ego needs to prove to her that I can do it.
I can take care of you.
Yes, I can take care of you. You just stick with me. Don't worry about my
wife.
Are
there circumstances that have sort of encouraged, and I'm not saying it's good or not good. I'm just saying, are there circumstances that are maybe the wives, are there things that we've done as wives that have encouraged the man to go out in search of, or are there discussions, are there things that have led to this?
Maybe this is the point I should share my own personal experience. In technical terms, I was the other woman at some point in life. You're dating, you're young, and then there are guys who chase you. And then I remember a married guy, it didn't start with chase. We worked in the same environment, right? And I was 22 or 23. And I was working in entertainment, and all he would talk about is how his wife is wanting, she's too fat, she's wanting, telling stories, and he's telling you how good-looking you are. I mean, of course, you think that goes into your head. And you start feeling like, oh, I'm the one that can solve this man's problem. And then he's taking you out for dinner, for lunch. But you know what? I told myself, come on, they're dating a married man. Even if he's dating just to go and eat his dinner, as far as I was concerned, chopping his money doesn't really matter. And there was no function of saying, maybe I had to sleep with him or whatever. But the point is, it slowly creeps on you, and it could have gotten to that level. But I could call myself to God and say, what am I even doing with these guys? He's not even to marry. Where is he leading me? So that's why I keep saying that when you become the other woman, I don't know. I'm like...
Well, I have a story. My very good friend, she was the other woman. We're serving at the time, so we're quite young at the time, doing our national youth service. And she was with this man, and she'll come back home to tell me how this man is suffering, his wife, she's so wicked. To the point she said, do you know even her children don't love her? You know, so yes, so here she is, the defender of the universe, here to rescue the man. But, and he, of course, promised her marriage and everything. Well, it's been nearly 10 years or more.
Are they still dating?
No, they're not dating. He's still with his wife. Yes. And her children very much love her.
Their mom.
And she had gone on to get married to someone else. I'm just saying, yes, they'll give you stories, but you should be smart enough to know.
But the truth is, for some people, it ends up well.
How?
Unfortunately, they end up marrying them. They do end up. It's happened a lot of times. That's not well. No, but guess what? You asked a question. You said, are there things that lead, circumstances that lead to? And I always say to women, when you get married, always remain relevant. Always remember what got him attracted to you from the very beginning. I mean, first from your looks, it would always fade one, but don't relax and just keep. See how hot you are now. I mean, how? Do you understand? No, trust me. Because I'm telling you, I believe in keeping men on their toes, your husband on his toes.
He should keep chasing you.
He should keep chasing you. You should never stop. Yes,
they'll say you keep them on their toes too much, so they need to look for the one that doesn't keep them so much on their toes. There's always a reason.
I don't think so. Well, and also because of the fact that, a friend of mine shared something with me yesterday. Her Bobo sent it to her and said, her husband said, now wow. Solomon married 700 wives, had 700 wives in the Bible, and also had 300 concubines. And God still loved him. Meanwhile, in Africa, the man, we follow house girl, and the whole world will want to come down.
Yeah, but he said God still loves you. God will still love you. Does not mean I have to love you. Thank you.
Is the other woman always a bad woman? What if she didn't know that she was the other woman?
That's what I said at the beginning. Sometimes, what if she didn't know she was the other woman?
Okay, like my story.
Men are good at hiding it.
Okay. So like my story would be, I'm married to a much older man. Of course, so immediately people see us. I'm judged as the other woman without hearing. They don't know the backstory.
Yeah.
Oh, she's much younger. She must be the wicked witch that came and destroyed everything. So there are stories I know also of people who have been deceived into being the other woman. But of course, once you get enough information, but although sometimes it happens that maybe you've gone so far as to have kids with this person. And then, so what happens then?
Kids with somebody that don't know has another wife? Is that possible?
Some people have been able to do that.
But what men do, that's the truth. Like you said, a lot of women are deceived into. A man can hide. Haven't you heard the stories where the man dies and the funeral
kids
had 4 kids, 3 kids?
Yes. No, but Ifeoma, do you agree with all these stories? Doesn't the other woman that is having those children for the married man, that she's so ignorant, right? Do we have a right to judge her?
You see, for me, I don't even think, even if she were aware, I'm not sure this conversation is about judging. I think it's about looking at the situation. And the two sides, as far as I'm concerned, are guilty. A lot of
the man and the woman.
Yes, the wife and yes, because you see, yes, I believe that, like Ndidi said, women should look after themselves. But I think that marriage is more than about just looking after yourself.
I agree.
There's a bonding that has taken place. Does that bond mean nothing to you? And then, okay, you now go to another woman. Supposing you didn't even lie. You said to her that you're married. It's that thing your wife has shaped you up to be that she finds
that
appealing.
She finds appealing. Very true.
So your wife has now prepared you for somebody else to enjoy the better
which is
part
sadly
of you.
so what happens in this
That
country.
is what is painful. I think wives find the other woman painful because she's taking from them or in their husbands what they should have and enjoy, and then she enjoys it. You know,
she reminds me of Acrimony. You know the movie Acrimony?
I was on their show to talk about Acrimony.
But you know, I would never forget. This actually happened. You know, I had this client that wanted, this stylist that came to me, she wanted to style her clients for a photo shoot.
She also runs a store, by the way.
Yes, and I said to her, I said, can I see the pictures of these people to her? The man is in his 80s. The photo shoot was for the other woman who was in her 40s.
You see?
And then I see a picture of this man, his first wife, who is also almost in her 80s, looking like she was 100 and something. In the picture with the
40-something
other one. You know, it broke my heart.
So what are particular?
It broke, because all I could see was this poor woman that has suffered, just like what you're saying, with this man. And he finds her also whatever now, and has gone for...
I have a friend that says that she will never leave her house for another woman. Right?
But okay, now, I have a problem with that. Because I say to women, do not condescend that low. I'm sorry. He's decided to take on another woman. Move on. And that is and I stand by it.
I think that's a good place for us to take a break.
What?
Let's take a break.
Okay. Why do we have to take a break?
So before we went on the break, Ayo, you said you were going to say something.
Yeah, what was I going to say? Look, the bottom line is, right now, it seems like we are all just demonizing the other woman. And quite sincerely, the reason I brought this topic is because the other woman is a woman, right? It's not a function of who's right and who's wrong. And like somebody did point out to me sometime, that sometimes the other woman doesn't really want your husband. The other woman just wants to be able to pleasure herself sometimes and share in the money or whatever. But she's not taking... So we're looking at her as somebody who's coming to take your husband.
But we're not, though. We're not looking at... You see, what is taking a husband?
Exactly.
I don't think we are.
Or sharing your husband.
What is taking a husband? The way I look at it is this. If I'm the other woman, then there's something his wife isn't giving him that I may be able to give him.
Can't just be greedy.
No, it may not be a matter of greed. It may, you can't have everything you want in one person.
Yes.
Okay,
so which means that different people can provide different things. In the same way, can I have another man?
Exactly.
Can I have another man?
In fact, I remember saying that we've been socialized to believe that when you get married, as women in Nigeria, for instance, you sort of cut off your other relationships with... Okay, so if you're talking to a guy, it just seems wrong.
With the opposite sex.
So you just, cut off all those relations, stick to women or stick to married women. Even if you're friends with single girls, they're like, oh, they'll spoil you and everything. But your husband is allowed to have friends that he people he grew up with, understandably so. So are we the ones that are shooting ourselves in the foot by allowing
us women?
Yes, us women. Are we the ones shooting?
Because
it can be that we can maintain... Because we need different types of relationships to be whole.
Yeah. But going back to... putting sort of trying to be the other woman or thinking like being in her shoes. Well, there are a few reasons why people do become side chicks, I guess, apart from wanting to get in a marriage with your husband. I'm a young girl, 18, 21. I want to travel the world. I can't afford it. And I want designer clothes and bags, maybe, and then when she's old...
That's exactly. They call it something else now, though. I don't know what it is. It's not sugar daddy.
So that's the only way I can understand why someone... I mean, without demonizing her,
I guess. No, but there's a funky way there's a name for it, too. I just don't remember.
No, ma'am, you see, my bit with that is... maybe because when it comes to relationships, okay, I believe even in marriage, I believe you should get married for the right reasons, which for me, first and foremost, is love. Now, when you start to look at the financial gains, then you're ready to take any crap, even as the main wife. Now, you find out that your husband has a side chick and you want to remain in it, then be ready to take the crap he's giving you. But if you decide that I own myself. This is me. This is what I stand for. If you have a side chick,
but he may not be giving you crap, though, and he may actually be a better husband because he has somebody else. Care of you. That is the interesting thing. No.
Okay, so can I do the same?
That's the only question. You see,
that's the main question.
A man is actually a better husband when he has somebody else with whom he exhales.
Can I tell you? Can I share? I know
it doesn't make it, which is the reason why it's not about it's right, it's wrong in many ways. It's about
what's accepted in a particular area.
Not even know. What is it that we see?
But is it a two-way thing?
It's not really.
Is it a two-way thing? That they can't really, you know, when you're with your wife, you're thinking of bills, school fees, and all of that. When you meet somebody else, even as women, when you meet a guy outside and you have an interesting conversation that had no hold back. Exactly. It was just you feel good. So it usually starts off as that. You know, you meet somebody and then the person is just so civil and everything is just perfect.
You see something else
then
in her.
Maybe we women are able to cut off at a point, and then maybe men just don't know when to draw the line, and then it grows from one thing to another. So maybe that's another thing. So we can't really be that person that they don't, because I mean, the bills are the bills. The children are there. It's not going to.
But then there's something else. I think there are people who are allowed to marry more than one wife.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
So if you're, like mostly the North, you're Muslim, you know your husband is likely to have
a third or fourth
wife. So usually you're growing up, you're socialized to think that can happen. Okay. So you can accept it. And yet, you know, people still do not, even though they know that could happen,
it's still painful.
It's still painful. See, the word for like a second wife or a third wife or a new wife in Hausa is kishia. And that comes from the word kishi. Kishi is jealousy. Yeah. So to be described as second or third as the kishi, like maybe the jealouser or the one that brings on jealousy. So, you know, even though it is acceptable, but they also recognize that it's tough for you to call it.
I think if we had a society where, like the Muslims do, where it's accepted, then it would end a lot of, you know,
no, but are you not hearing what I'm saying?
Setting. It's
because
like
I was just going to say,
cultural setting.
Do you know that even both of you, in some parts of the East, women marry for their husbands? Because you get a particular age in the past.
But yes, not from the East in any event.
Okay, that's I'm sorry. I just say, Southeast. We are South. It's like saying I'm from the East. But the truth is, I've heard of where women marry. For example, even if you cannot have a child, for example, you can marry for your husband. Even if you are rich women across the Niger who marry for their husbands.
I don't think it's only even across the Niger. I think in many cultures.
Oh, really?
Yes, in many cultures, if another woman has a child, then you have a child if you don't have children.
No, that's different.
No, it's the same thing. If you get a woman and her children become yours, if you even read history and the cultures, it's a very common thing. Even in cultures, people will say to women, this is the other part of it. So there are other men too, because women whose husbands can't give them children, their older relatives will tell them, go and have a child with a man outside. But your husband knows he can't have children. He knows that child can't be his, but he's okay with it.
But you have to be discreet. He can't be discreet about it.
Exactly.
Well, it's
because of our society.
It's what tradition is.
That actually brings me into saying that a lot of people have actually said these days that women aren't keeping quiet anymore. And that a lot of the side chicks now are also married women.
I was just going to say that. I agree. That is so true. Even the men are going for the married women because they think the side... Thank you. Because they know... exactly. And they know that the side chicks that are married are not looking to, take you away like that.
That means there are women who are main chick here, and side chicks there.
But and guess what? I hear that their relationships with their main husbands, it's more fun for them. Yeah, it helps because I think the idea of variety is the spice of life.
Just shaking my head.
But it's happening. It is amazing. It is happening.
All this conversation that we're having, it simply means that people are doing exactly what they please. So we can say what we like. We say it's like, who is the side chick if your husband spends all the time there? The woman you call the side chick is the main person. So you don't. So the idea of using that word, it simply means that the relationships, whether you're married or not, a man decides with which woman he feels most whole.
So should a woman be able to decide that
So there's no such thing. You might be the married side chick.
But you
see, your husband.
When we're looking at side chick as, the whole sex thing being involved.
It has to be.
No, sometimes. You see, which is why it can be a bit difficult. You, as a married woman, you might start to lose that communication thing with your husband. And you find another man that you can actually open up to. You're enjoying that. That's it. There's something brewing there.
You know, talking about demonizing the side chick, but you've heard of cases where, okay, a woman leaves her home because of a side chick, and she's divorced, but ends up being a side chick to somebody's husband. So it's acceptable. I mean, it's unacceptable when it happens to her. But then when she's available, but she's not avenging on her husband.
No, but I don't understand this. So look at Miriam talking. Miriam, you're second wife in terms of you were second marriage.
I'm first wife.
Okay, you're first wife. Sorry.
Only wife.
But everybody will still be looking at you as if you are the cause of the breakup of the marriage.
But her case was different. The man had been
Yes, it's true, but I mean, people just assume. So we'll have to sit with you and tell you, I met him 4 years after.
That really bother you because you know the truth. I think it's for those that know that, okay, I've
So I want to ask this question. Would it make it less offensive to a wife if she was allowed to do hers as well and have her own side boy or side
definitely.
man?
But why are we taking this to only marriage? There are people who are dating and talking about side chick and main chick.
I'm just acceptable when you're dating, really, because for me, you're single if you're not married. So if you're single, you're single. I mean, you have to be married.
But shouldn't lay
during
claims.
courtship, it leads to something.
No,
you know,
but it shouldn't lay claims.
I don't think you can lay claim because if you're dating someone and they happen to meet someone else after you and prefer the person, it may be sad for you. But they're not obligated to
No, but I remember when I was dating my husband, and he started trying to toast this babe that I found out. I walked away. I'm like, to hell with you.
You see what I mean? He came back
I
and chose you.
Then he begged. So that is it. Yes, but if I just sat there and said, I will take it like that. In marriage, he will try himself. So you need to be able to stand your ground. I don't think the moment you're dating, it's already, because if you're dating me and I do the same and you find out that I have one or two, and for women, it's even safer when you're dating to have one or two. Because you don't know what the man is saying. It's true.
I agree.
He will keep you for 10 years. And waka, yes. So you're better off, because you never know. But
what are your final thoughts on this?
Well, how will you summarize it?
Well, I mean, don't be a side chick, I guess. I don't know.
What if it happens to you?
Try not to be the source of another person's pain. Don't let a woman kneel down because of you.
No, but
if you are aware, I mean, if there's anything you can do about it, I'm not judging you or anything, but I mean, people find themselves in situations. If you are aware and there's anything you can do to lessen the pain of somebody else, by all means.
I think it's really do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And if you feel, if somebody else did it to you, be comfortable as well. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these things we talk about are societal constructs. We decide. So society has decided that from a woman's perspective, the other woman shouldn't be. But from a man's perspective, it should be. It can't be one-sided. It means that if we allow it for men, then there will always be other women.
I think for me, just like Mama said, do unto others what you want done to you. So if you know, for the men first, mine is not even from the side, because it takes two to tango.
Yeah,
so the men should learn to be content. Do you understand? And if there's something that you don't find in your woman, okay, that is true, but don't, because that's actually where it stems from. They look outside, they start to, and from them, it's like joke, it's as in like, let me just try. One night thing. And the side chick wants to enter. You're thinking innocent, yes, and bang. So let's not even, don't even create room for that in the first place. And you, the women, do not settle for less. Why be a side chick when you can meet the main one? So wait for the single somebody.
Well, I'd say you be the side chick, be the main chick. Exactly. Don't give anybody chance. Color be the thing. Even though really, like my husband always says, no polygamy. But it depends on the negotiations that you have. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you can do side chick, then I can be side guy. I can have my own side guy if I can take care of it. But that's what, the conversations are done here. They're done here. But they can continue online at TW Conversations, and we'll continue talking here. But at the end of the day, whether you're a side chick, whatever, just know that the other woman is a woman, like you. Don't deal with her. If the man is the problem, deal with him.
Yes.
I beg, Kekwano.
I know if you to wait the money, so I will take lavish and go. You just spend the money now. So I no value the person. That is I no value waiting you do. You understand? So I no ever value waiting you do. So if I call him family, I will give the money to his family. But say I don't know everyone in the family, so just they make friends. So you just keep the money for myself. So I just saying that instead of me to damage the money, I'll take and start business. So just keep myself company. So later if I call him family, I feel appreciate the family. That's all.
I will return the money to the family.
It has conditions. Number one, if to say that my friend there, he be Adenuga family, I don't go return them because I know say Papa don't get plenty money. But if the person is from a poor background, I may go to the person's mom or dad that my friend left so amount with me. That what are you going to do about it? Even though the family is going to say they are going to you to take some of it, so that is the way we are going to share it. I think that is the best decision.
Money. I'll give it to if I happen to know the family, I'll go and give it to the family. But if I don't know the family, I'll give it to the appropriate authorities, probably the police.
30 million naira is a big money. I cannot keep it for myself because he meant well giving me. I will not keep it. I will return it to the family. In a case that I don't know the family, and an so person, place, staying in so place, gave me so amount, and now it's no more. I will return the, definitely I must make sure I return the money.
Eat the money because if I should know his family member or anyone related to him, I'll return the money because I didn't know how he gets the money. I didn't know how, so I can't just eat his sweat just like that because he's there. So I will return the money to his family. So if I didn't know any of his family member, I can take it to station. Maybe if they can contact his family member. That's all.
I cannot return any money, yo. Me, I will chop the money. I'll carry some and go to the bank. No, go to the bank. Maybe I'll just carry some and go to the bank. Then spend the remaining one. Maybe start buying other things that I need, like landed properties and the rest of them. Who do I tell? Who do I tell that someone drops money? I should go and give the family member. Mbao, the money is my own.
I will return the money to their family so that at least they can be happy and they will not lose hope. At least they will say, it's hard to trust someone. Nowadays, it's hard to trust someone and you return the money. At least God will favor me too. So it's not good to take what is not yours.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. From the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment. There's another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
On Plus TV, News Now Tonight. Senate summons NSA security chiefs over allegations of U.S. aid funding Boko Haram. Trump orders firing of all Biden-era U.S. attorneys. And the Israeli drone attack kills one in southern Lebanon despite ceasefire deal. Good evening and welcome. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. This is the News Now. The Senate has summoned NSA Nuhu Ribadu and heads of all security agencies to address allegations of U.S. aid sponsoring Boko Haram. The summons followed allegations made by U.S. Republican Congressman Scott Perry. Senator Aline Dume raised a point of order during a Senate session emphasizing the urgent national importance of the matter and the need for collaboration with security agencies to uncover the truth.
Observes that the monumental devastation caused by Boko Haram in this country should be a matter of concern, as it has dented the image of this country among the Community of Nations for allegations to begin to emerge at this point in time that some international organizations are behind this unwholesome act. There is the urgent need for steps to be taken by the federal government to unravel the mystery behind this whole episode.
Senator Abdul Ningi, a co-sponsor of the motion, expressed concern about the potential misuse of foreign aid in conflict zones.
It is very, very serious. And it has gone viral globally. And therefore, we need to do these things with some facts provided by these various security agencies at a closed-door session. Mr. President, with all due respect, this is my stand on this matter. It is almost impossible to do justice to this particular matter on a debate, in a plenary like this. Amity, once and for all. And I share in totality, I share with you, I share the position that has been canvassed by Senator Ningi and also strengthened by you. So it's a sensitive matter and it's an allegation. We should be very careful and try to find out the truth of that allegation.
The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, questioned the continued presence of U.S. aid in Nigeria if the organization is found to be complicit.
A political metamorphosis. It's almost like one political party taking over from another political party, and allegations flying left, right, center. It's only through thorough investigation that the truth can be established. Even America has not taken the allegation hook, line, and sinker. They are investigating. So Nigeria must also investigate to be sure, because we won't just keep quiet. If it is true that U.S. aid have been funding Boko Haram in Nigeria, we have no business allowing them to have offices in Nigeria. So before we can take decisive steps and also ask for recompense, automatically we must go deeper into the issue. So it's important that we get briefed by our intelligence community. The Senate should immediately invite the National Security Advisor, the Director General of the Nigerian Intelligence Agency, the Director General of the DSS, the Director General of the DIA, to brief the Senate in a closed session on the veracity or otherwise of these very serious allegations. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The National Security Advisor and all the security agency heads are scheduled to brief the Senate on the alleged sponsorship of Boko Haram by U.S. aid. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has called on the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, and other security heads to restore law, order, and peace in Osun State. They also resolved to establish an ad hoc committee to investigate the crisis surrounding the alleged attempt to take over local government council administrations by removed chairmen. This follows an amended motion of urgent public importance by Honorable Bamidele Salam and all Osun State House members, which lamented the preventable violence that had resulted in the deaths of 6 people and severe injuries of others.
In 2025, violence broke out in several parts of Osun State as a result of attempts to take over the administration of local government by officials who were sacked by 2 court judgments in November of 2022. Disturbed that the sacked officials are now breaking the gate of their respective local government secretariats to forcefully take over the local government without recourse to law and due process. The House notes that the Governor of Osun State, His Excellency Senator Ademola Nuruddin Jackson Adeleke, as the Chief Security Officer of the state, had addressed a press conference on Sunday, 16th of February, and alerted the nation about an imminent threat to peace and security in the state, while calling on the Inspector General of Police and other heads of security formations to take proactive steps to forestall the violence. Concerned that if the current trend of resort to self-help by political actors is not nipped in the bud, it might encourage citizens to do same in the face of perceived rights and privileges.
We need to do the investigation, conduct the investigation ourselves. So whatever happened, we put it in the legal term, allegation, alleged until it is proven, isn't it? So it is in that context I felt that what Honorable Isiaka is proposing is a good one. It's a good one, that we should have a committee to investigate and report back. The result of the investigation will inform us as to what direction our resolution will take.
Of February 2025.
The House of Representatives has expressed mourning for the passing of Edwin Clark, the late leader of the Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF. Clark was described as an elder spokesman who fought for the interests of the oil-rich Niger Delta region, even after public service and politics. The Speaker lamented the loss of Clark and his Yoruba counterpart, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, both of whom were significant losses to Nigeria. Honorable Pondi, the Ijaw leader, said Clark will be greatly missed for his fatherly role in holding the Niger Delta region together.
Significance to the Ijaw people of the country, a dependable voice for the people of the South-South region, and a key player in national affairs, dating back from the military era of our affable and adorable retired General Yakubu Gowon. Only yesterday morning, the nation was greeted with the news of his passing at the ripe age of 97 years. In matters of human relevance to the advancement of the collective aspiration of a people, one cannot be too old to pass on to join the ancestors. The nation has been thrown into mourning, but in our grief, we rejoice that he lived well to the satisfaction of his people. At the twilight of his life, he founded the Pan-Niger Delta Development Forum, PANDEF, a platform he leveraged so effectively to drum up support of Nigeria for the development of the Niger Delta region.
We're going to miss his advocacy, his very vocal disposition on national issues. He has stood with the Ijaw people. He doesn't economize words when there is need to say them. So when there are issues that are national issues that some of us cannot say, we go to him and he will boldly and gladly say those issues. And I'm particularly happy because when he passed, one of the first people that condoled with, that sent public condolence messages was the president of our country, President Tinubu himself. So it shows clearly that he's one man that cannot be put aside when it comes to national discussions. And again, that man also, Papa Clark also founded the PANDEF that he leveraged on to discuss issues that concern our people.
The National Board for Technology Incubation, NBTI, has appointed Dr. Kazim Kolawole Raji as its new Director General and CEO, marking a new era for the organization, which aims to foster innovation and local entrepreneurship.
I've been able to do just a kind of template that will guide the departments, the heads of units, zonal directors and center managers, for them to be able to submit their inputs.
Dr. Kola emphasized the importance of innovation, digital inclusion, and staff welfare in his opening remarks, highlighting NBTI's 36 incubation centers for fostering entrepreneurs and boosting GDP through emerging technologies. He urged the government to support local technology with favorable laws and international product packaging.
Outside to go and import tractor again if we develop our own local entrepreneurs. And that is the reason why I've always been advocating the Executive Order 003 and 005 on ICT local content has to become an act of parliament. If they become law, then Nigerians will embrace our own local technology. We don't have to go outside to go and rely on foreign technology. And if you are working on your own local technology, you will be rest assured that the capital flight will become a thing of the past, and we can shore up our foreign reserve and the fluctuation of naira and the exchange rate. Recently, what we are doing is electromechanical, and I'm bringing new initiative on emerging technologies, because when you talk about technology of today, you talk about AI, that's artificial intelligence, you talk about nanotechnology, you talk about blockchain technology. And if you look at what is happening today, we are in a knowledge-based economy where the frontier technology elites of most Nigerian youth can be put into test and help drive the economic base of Nigeria, grow our economy, increase our GDP.
The renewed Hope Ambassadors Network, RAN, has praised the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, and its Chief Executive, Engineer Gbenga Komolafe, for their significant progress in implementing the Petroleum Importance Act, PIA. Dr. Ipialu Fabian, the group's National Secretary, emphasized the NUPRC's efforts in crude oil handling agreements, local content development, and curbing oil theft, promoting gas utilization, and attracting investment in deep water exploration.
One of the most notable reforms has been the restructuring of the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, into NNPC Limited, a commercially driven organization that currently functions under the clear regulatory monitoring rather than under government direct control. This transformation has increased competitiveness in the sector, reducing inefficiencies associated with government interference. The establishment of the Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, has also played a vital role in reforming the industry. These measures have enhanced accountability and improved production monitoring, contributing to increased revenue for government.
The House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts is investigating outstanding debts owed to the Federation account by Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, and other oil companies. The inquiry, led by Subcommittee Chairman Honorable Akinlade Isiaq, follows concerns from the Office of the Auditor General for the Federation. As of 2021, NNPCL and other oil companies owed $1.6 billion in royalties to the Federation, with NNPCL's claims standing at 1.9 trillion naira.
We are not out to short anybody. What this committee is set up to do is to ensure that those that are owing us pay us for us to be able to finance this year's budget. We want to take all our money from everywhere. You know the challenge we are having, 54 trillion budget. We don't want to take loan. We have resources in-house. If we are able to harness all those resources, we will finance this year's budget without taking any loan. And that's why this committee is set up. And also prepare to take any step legal to retrieve, to recover all the outstandings from any agency either government or private sectors that are owing this country. So that's the purpose of this assignment. And because we just received your submission now, we may not be able to take you, but the members of this committee, we are 12 members in this committee, will go through this document and at the appropriate time, not too long.
Dr. Shegun, the group CEO, clarified that some funds were allocated to government priority projects and subsidy funding, which was maintained until September 2024.
For these projects, aptly, is through deductions from Federation's crude and gas entitlements, which covers royalties for the period, which were duly appropriated for. And the various projects and the application we have detailed in Appendix 2 to our letter. As I said earlier, there were no deductions in 2023 and 2024 for GPP because this occurred following the passage of the PIA by the National Assembly. Furthermore, going to the cost of collection due to NUPRC on royalties and other fiscal obligations. We are unable to address that really because NNPC Limited does not pay NUPRC. NUPRC is paid by the Accountant General of the Federation, and so we're unable to produce information in that respect. Our role is to remit, and then once the remittance is done, we believe the appropriate agency of government makes payments to NUPRC. To be clear, we do not make those payments for revenue generation to NUPRC.
The subcommittee chairman has committed to continuing its investigation into 2025, aiming to determine the status of debts as of December 2024, ensure the recovery of outstanding funds, and uphold the committee's commitment to professionalism and transparency. Former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan performed the groundbreaking ceremony for the 25,000-seat Olympic World Stadium in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State, to mark Governor Diodiri's 5th anniversary. He urged the sporty world to care for athletes and introduce retirement benefits to boost enthusiasm for the younger generation and boost tourism potentials in Bayelsa State and the country as a whole. Many athletes have faced unfortunate outcomes in the past.
We must have a fund to be properly managed by people, that anybody who has been able to make a name in sports, you will never be a beggar until you die. So my request is that the chairman of the National Sports Commission should think about such a thing. At the state level too could be done. And that is something that whenever I think about sports, I feel sad that I didn't do it. Really, really, we must make sure that anybody who made the country proud should be taken care of until that person dies. And that will encourage young men and women to invest 100% of their skills.
Our assured prosperity mantra prioritizes urbanization, sports, and youth development as the cornerstones of our vision for a thriving society. This facility will serve as an inspiration for our youths, a place where dreams can take flight, talent can be cultivated, and destinies fulfilled.
The project is a very good project, nice one. And you know our governor is a sports lover. And that project will really bring a lot to the state.
The Federal University of Oyo-Ekiti Vice Chancellor, Professor Abayomi Fashino, announced that 3,281 students have benefited from the Nigeria Education Loan Fund, NEL Fund, and a government initiative. The fund, totaling over 3 billion naira, have significantly aided students in their pursuit of higher education. Fashino thanked President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the TED Fund for their support, which has addressed the university's pressing needs. He also highlighted the importance of educational access as a foundation for development, stating that access to education is the bedrock of development.
Been able to benefit from it. In the last few months, most of our students have been able to pay their school fees because they have access to this loan. And it's a thing that actually also helps us as a university. We need to run after our students to collect our school fees every semester and session, but alas, with this NEL fund, the money came directly from Abuja to us, running to millions of naira. And I think we need to applaud Mr. President on this. We also need to applaud Mr. President on TED Fund. The TED Fund takes care of infrastructure, and I think that's very basic and very important. Not only about infrastructures, but every aspect of education in this country. Is it manuscripts publication? Is it training of staff? Is this postdoctorate? Is this scholarships? Building of laboratories? TED Fund has been able to take care of. This year's competition is not just about the conference of degrees. It is a celebration of future degrees, progress. The impactful contribution of our staff and students and our commitment to academic excellence, research, and community development.
Journalists in Benue State have been urged to highlight the developmental achievements of Governor Hyacinth Alia's administration. Chief Solomon Iopev, the technical advisor to the governor, visited the Federal Correspondence Chapel, a journalist group in the state. Iopev appreciated the group's work in covering state activities and urged them to be objective in their reporting. Isaac Keto, leader of Daybreak News, thanked Iopev for promoting Alia's programs and policies and assured support for the state's overall development.
Look at the right side of this place, and I'm not lying about it.
No, you are not.
Everywhere you go is a construction site. The man is moving on food trucks.
Yeah.
For heaven's sake, you think he doesn't want to chop money?
Totally.
Even the problem the man is having is because he has refused that nobody will share money on the table, under the desk, anywhere. That's his challenge. Anyway, the point is simple. In the last 8 years, what did you see here that is not different now? No, let's be honest. Things are completely changing.
The political tension in the All Progressives Congress Assembly, 13 members of the assembly who opposed Ekpambese's removal were given a 3-month suspension. The suspended members distanced themselves from the resolution, claiming it was unlawful. They argue that they cannot be suspended beyond 2 weeks and that they were not given a fair hearing on the floor.
We had a press conference where we disassociated ourselves from the purported removal of the Chief Judge. We fought to instill fairness, equitable and fair hearing, which were completely abandoned or ignored at yesterday's proceedings. Today, we have been suspended for standing against the arbitrariness, unlawful and tyrannical practiced by the House of Assembly. We are here to state in clear terms that we do not accept the suspension because the House of Assembly lacks the power to suspend us beyond 14 days. It's indicated in the standing rules of the House, Order 10 Rule 73, that no member of the House can be suspended beyond 14 days.
A coalition of registered political parties in Benue State, including the CRPP, has called for an immediate reversal of the removal of the Chief Judge, arguing it is an assault on the rule of law and democracy.
The coalition of registered political parties, CRPP in Benue State, categorically condemn the unprecedented judicial rascality, intimidation and abuse of power orchestrated by the government of Benue State in its reckless attempt to remove the Chief Judge of the state. The attempt to remove the Chief Judge of Benue State, Justice Morris Mbase, is an outrageous abuse of power and a dangerous precedent. The judiciary is last hope of the common man, and any attempt to undermine this independence must be strongly resisted. We, as political parties operating in Benue State, condemn this shameful act in entirety and declare that enough.
The APC faction has extended its influence to the Benue State House of Assembly, affecting all three arms of the state. SWOFON, a coalition of over 500,000 rural women farmers, is advocating for land ownership rights for smallholder women and young farmers in Nigeria. The association organized a sensitization program in Abuja to advocate for government and development partners like ActionAid Nigeria to increase food production through capacity building. Access to land remains a major obstacle for low productivity among these women farmers, and the association is calling for government support.
Who owns the land controls everything in the land and can have the capacity to decide the kind of crop that person would farm in that. And so it's tied to issues of control and independence of women. They will be able to own that land and control it and be able to produce and farm the kind of crops or or any kind of farming they want to do on those land and have their resources.
Experts are advocating for more women farmers to access farmlands despite the cumbersome land laws in the country.
A very critical role in food production and food security in Nigeria, but that their capacity to produce and contribute effectively to agriculture is also being challenged, among other reasons, with the lack of adequate access to land. Women owning land helps to inform the kind of crop they grow. They don't grow vegetables that takes 2-3 months for growth. They can grow crops that takes longer period, cashews and the rest of them. These are crops that takes longer periods to actually grow. They are trees that have got economic value that takes 4 or 5 years to actually grow. If the land is not yours, you can't grow such kind of crops or trees there. So it's important we have women have their own land, and it is important for government to actually provide that kind of land at concessional rates for women.
That when you hear smallholder farmers, it's the most vulnerable groups. They have less than half to 2 hectares of land, which now makes production to be, sustainable production to be very difficult. But if we are going to address the truth, they are classified as poor farmers. These are the most vulnerable people that live on less than $1 to $5 per day. And so we have to look at it. Otherwise, then we will wake up 20 years from now, they have disappeared.
Even the Constitution of Nigeria does not stop women from acquiring lands in Nigeria. It is rather our cultural system, our traditional system, as in women know they get land, or a woman that is married to a man and has a land, if she divorces man, the land will go. No. The governments are pushed for everybody to have land. So once governments and with private sector players start to advocate for that more, women will now know that everything is on their hands to.
Traditional leaders, stakeholders and experts attended to share their views and propose solutions for women farmers in the country. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has described the spiritual leader and founder of the INRI Evangelical Church, Primate Elijah Ayodele, as a true servant of God whose unwavering commitment to service and philanthropy has positively impacted countless lives. The governor made these remarks during the grand finale of activities marking the end of Primate Ayodele's 21 days of Thanksgiving, which kicked off in January 2025. Plus TV correspondent Love Oyedokun gives us details in this report.
This is a grand finale of the 21-day annual Thanksgiving program. The service commenced with a vibrant praise and worship session filled with uplifting music. This year's edition, like others, which climaxed on February 14, saw influx of important personalities across the globe celebrating God's goodness in the life of Primate Ayodele. The executive governors of Osun and Anambra States, Ademola Adeleke and Professor Charles Soludo, alongside Senator Abiodun Olujimi, joined Primate Ayodele for the concluding session of the special occasion. Governor Adeleke appreciated Primate Ayodele for inviting him to celebrate God with them as he sang and danced. The governor presented empowerment tools to widows and church members. In the same vein, Anambra State Governor Charles Soludo, represented by his Chief of Staff, Ernest Eziajugi, described Primate Ayodele as a man whose spirit of giving is unequaled.
What he has done today is very confounding because I can't imagine a man of God giving back so much to the people that worship within and the people who live around him. This is what a normal Nigerian should do.
In his remarks, Primate Ayodele expressed gratitude to God and the attendees for their support over the years. Primate Ayodele also had great words of commendation for the governors and senators who attended.
But there are a lot who doesn't want to do it. They don't want to help. They want to die in poverty. The little we have, I collect tithe, but not in my pocket. The tithe I collected, I used to pay the widows on monthly basis. Please come anytime, ask the widows about me. But to appreciate my friends who are there, like Osun, like Anambra, like the Senator, they have contributed their own contacts too. That's all.
One of the major highlights of the Thanksgiving service included visitations to church members' houses, schools, churches, Ikoyi prison, several police stations, among others, to offer relief materials and spiritual assistance. Love Uyedokun, Plus TV News.
The Federal High Court in Abuja has rejected Senator Samuel Anyawu's request to prevent the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) from implementing his removal as a PDP secretary. Instead, the judge ordered Anyanwu to put INEC and other defendants in his new suit on notice to appear in court to hear their sides. Anyanwu had requested that the court restrains INEC from receiving or giving effect to correspondence and written submissions from the PDP except those signed by him. Justice Ekwo, after reviewing Anyawu's submission, concluded that a case of urgency was established. However, he would prefer to hear from the defendants before issuing any order. Anyanwu was ordered to serve court processes on the two defendants, and the case is set to be heard on February 24. A gunpowder explosion at a local market in Talata Mafara Market, Zamfara State, resulted in 2 deaths and 44 injuries. The explosion occurred on Tuesday and caused panic among traders and shoppers. The explosion was believed to have originated from a shop selling locally fabricated firearms. The chairman of the Talata Mafara local government, Yaya Yari, confirmed the incident and confirmed that the injured victims were referred to Usman Danfodio University Teaching Hospital, Sokoto, for medical treatment. The incident has raised concerns about safety and regulations in Zamfara State, where troops have been working to combat banditry and kidnappings. Locally made firearms, often used by vigilante groups, have become widespread, raising concerns about safety and regulation. Nigerian security forces have been shutting down 6 major markets in Onitsha for over 2 weeks to combat fake and expired drug dealers. The affected markets include the Onitsha Drug Market, Oduoni Market, Surgical Line Market, Plumbing Materials Market, Ogbogu Fashion Line Market, Bridgehead Provision Market, and part of the Timber Dealers Market. The National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has contacted military personnel for its operation against drug dealers. Traders at the Bridgehead or the Head Bridge Market expressed frustration and concern about the negative impacts of the closure. Anambra State ex-Governor Peter Obi questions the rationale behind the closure and called for the immediate reopening of neighboring markets. The House of Representatives has called on the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, to ensure innocent traders in recently sealed drug markets are not unfairly affected. The House directed its Committee on NAFDAC to investigate concerns over the blanket clampdown on the market, stressing the need to safeguard the livelihoods of legitimate vendors. Victor Afam Ogene, LP Anambra, urged NAFDAC to exercise caution in its enforcement operations, stating that while removing fake and substandard drugs is crucial, innocent business owners should not be unjustly affected. He expressed concern that NAFDAC's unilateral break-in and confiscation of goods without allowing owners to witness the operation would make accountability difficult and dent the integrity of the operation. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has donated 6 armored gunboats to the Rivers State Police Command to improve maritime security. The move aims to address concerns over sea piracy and armed robbery along the state's waterways. The gunboats were handed over to the Rivers State Police Command in Port Harcourt following complaints from residents of Bonny Kingdom about increasing criminal activities along the waterways.
There is need, therefore, for visibility patrol for possible prevention, apprehension, and prosecution of maritime offenders. Hence, the IGP Kayode Egbetokun, MP and PhD, in his magnanimity has donated the gunboat to the Marine Police, Rivers State Command, to curb the ever-increasing challenges of the waterways. To this effect, there is no gainsaying that the commission of these operational vessels today has not only come handy, but timely, as it will go a long way in the effectiveness of the Nigerian police force in its ever ready to fight against maritime crime and criminalities.
DIG Ali emphasized the gunboat's purpose as security operations and warned against misuse. He advised Marine Police against using them as private escorts. The Rivers State Government Secretary, Dr. Tammy Danagogo, expressed gratitude for the donation and praised the IGP for aiding, or aligning rather, with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda.
Yeah, and then warned the officers and men of maritime section here that these gunboats are not to be used or be deployed to private security guards, as it has been the case with some of you. They are meant for you to curb crime and criminalities along the waterways. It is not for you to deploy them to where you make money and then the general public suffer at the expense of your own pecuniary interests. Sanctions definitely will be applied.
Security is a cardinal aspect of the Renewed Hope agenda. And so what he is doing, or what the IG has done today, is part of the activities that will promote and actualize the Renewed Hope agenda of Mr. President, which our Governor, Sir Siminalayi Fubara, is also pursuing to ensure that the good people of Rivers State benefit from this Renewed Hope agenda and every possible dividend of democracy. I want to assure you on behalf of the Governor that he will continue to support the Nigerian police force and indeed all other security agencies operating in the state. We are aware, and he has always paid or laid a high premium on security.
The First Lady of Lagos State, Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, has urged young boys to harness their potential and take control of their future by prioritizing their studies and shunning drug abuse. Dr. Sanwo-Olu, who stated this on the first day of a 3-day workshop on the boy child held in Lagos, emphasized the critical importance of education as a foundation for success. Plus TV correspondent Love Oyedokun has details in this report.
accompanied by 200 boys selected from various secondary schools in the state. Dr. Ibijuke Sowolu visited the Deputy Governor, Hamzat Obafemi, and the Chief Judge of Lagos State, Kazim Alugba, in their offices. In a compelling call to action, Deputy Governor Hamzat told the boys to take control of their future. Hamzat urged them to shun the notion that education is a scam, explaining that many successful people, including Elon Musk, are educated.
You have advantage, but that advantage cuts across everybody, not only you. That's why, as a person, you must take that advantage. You must take that advantage to make sure that you succeed in life. Don't let anybody tell you, oh no, it's difficult, it's this, it's that. No! Life will throw challenges, but it is only the strong people that will stand it. And what that means is just follow the simple protocols. Don't be disobedient to your parents. Listen in class, pay attention, pray to God.
In her address, Dr. Sowolu said the initiative was championed by her office and it is designed to groom boys for purposeful living while building a network of future leaders and advocates.
I am pleased to inform you that over 400 boys have directly been transformed by the past camping exercises held both in Badore and Meron in 2022 and 2024, respectively. And by extension, several other lives have been influenced by the LBCI, which is Lagos Boy Child Initiative, indirectly. Through the Lagos Boy Child Initiative, we have been also able to showcase talents, which has culminated in some of our participants gaining admission into the tertiary institution. Currently, some boys are under the LBCI scholarship and about tertiary level education.
At the Chief Judge's office, Justice Kazim Alugba urged the boys to take the golden opportunity of the workshop to rebrand themselves while commending the First Lady for the initiative.
The government needs to emphasize vocational training. And I would suggest taking this golden opportunity that we should have a policy whereby at your primary school level education, you must learn a vocation, probably to a certain proficiency level. When you get to your secondary school, both the GSS and DSS, maybe you also take that vocational course to a certain level.
The 2025 edition featured panel sessions anchored by educationists, religious leaders, traditional rulers, youth representatives, and other influential personalities. Love Oyedoku, Plus TV News.
Still ahead, Trump signs order to improve IVF affordability in U.S. Details when we return.
An African girl somewhere is sitting at home, accompanied by dreams that seem so far away. Africa is one of the continents with the highest out-of-school percentage in education, and girls are at an early disadvantage. The sub-Saharan Africa records about 18 million out-of-school girls. This gender gap extends to the tech space with a projection of only a 33% global female workforce representation in tech firms for 2022. Let us help change the stories and numbers. Africa Agility's Project Train a Girl campaign is working to help train African girls in tech. You can donate as little as $2 or 2,000 Naira to help a girl in tech get her heels in the door. Visit www.africaagility.rallyup.com/PTAG to donate.
Outside Africa now, an Israeli drone attack killed at least one person in southern Lebanon just one day after Israeli troops withdrew from most of the border area. The attack occurred in the town of Aita al-Shaab, where the victim was Yusuf Mohammed Soro, the son of the town's mayor. In a separate attack, one person was wounded in the Wazani region after Israeli forces opened fire while residents were inspecting restaurants and cafes. A ceasefire deal agreed in November 2024 had halted over a year of hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah, with Lebanon's military deployed alongside UN peacekeepers as the Israeli army withdrew over a 60-day period. President Donald Trump has ordered the firing of all remaining U.S. attorneys nominated by his predecessor, Joe Biden. This is standard practice for an incoming president to replace federal prosecutors known as U.S. attorneys nominated by their predecessor. There are 93 U.S. attorneys, one for each of the 94 federal court districts in the country. A number of U.S. attorneys nominated by Democrat Biden resigned following Trump's November election victory in anticipation of being replaced. The Justice Department, which Trump has accused of unjustly prosecuting him, has been target of a sweeping shakeup since the Republican took office. Meanwhile, the U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order aimed at enhancing the affordability and availability of in vitro fertilization, a health issue he addressed during his campaign. The order directs the Domestic Policy Council to explore ways to make fertility treatments more affordable for more Americans, according to White House Staff Secretary Will Scarf. U.S. and Russia diplomats held their first high-level meeting since the Russian invasion of Ukraine in Saudi Arabia, aiming to de-establish their fractured re-establish their fractured relations. The meeting, which began without visible handshakes, has sparked concern in Ukraine and Europe due to the U.S.'s recent overtures towards the Kremlin. The meeting was attended by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Middle East Envoy Steve Witkoff, Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan, and National Security Advisor Mossad bin Mohammed Al-Abin.
Follow up on the phone call the President had a week ago and begin to establish those lines of communication. The work remains. Today is the first step of a long and difficult journey, but an important one, and President Trump is committed to bringing an end to this conflict.
The talks were useful and constructive. We were listening attentively to one another. This U.S. administration is more understanding of our position. In the near future, we'll convene more meetings and look at all issues, iron out all obstacles, including the resumption of diplomatic missions.
Russia and the U.S. have agreed to establish teams to negotiate a path to ending the war in Ukraine, following talks that drew strong rebuke from Kyiv over its exclusion. The U.S. State Department noted that European nations would have to have a seat at the negotiating table at some point, following the first high-level official Washington-Moscow talks since the 2022 invasion of Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky slammed his nation's exclusion from the Riyadh gathering, which marked a major diplomatic coup for Moscow. European allies have publicly diverged over whether they would be open to sending truce peacekeepers to Ukraine. Up next, Microsoft unveils $1 million initiative to boost AI in Nigeria. That's in business news after this break.
Hello, welcome to Business News. I'm Hello Kedu. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has directed banks and financial institutions to publicly disclose details of dormant accounts, unclaimed balances, and other financial assets on their official website. The directive, titled Guidelines on Management of Dormant Accounts, Unclaimed Balances, and Other Financial Assets in Banks and Other Financial Institutions in Nigeria, requires financial institutions to display key details such as the names of individuals authorized to operate the account, the type of account, and the branch where the account is domiciled. For other financial institutions without dedicated websites, the information must be published on the respective industry association's website. The Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, CPPE, in Nigeria has warned against the adoption of extreme policies that could impact government revenue. The CPPE has noted that a drastic reduction in inflation does not necessarily mean a decrease in overall price level of goods and commodities. The sharp deceleration in inflation figures was not unexpected, given the revision of the computation base year from 2009 to 2024. However, the CPPE warns that high prices continue to impact businesses, household, and overall economic well-being. The government must recalibrate its strategies to address these critical cost drivers. The CPPE has seen early signs of reductions in PMS, diesel, certain food items, and pharmaceutical products, and hopes this trend will be sustained throughout the year. And the Plateau State government has pledged its support for the revival of the 8.5 billion naira Hill Station Resort, a strategic partnership within the government and Hillside Hospitality Limited. The ambitious project, set to begin construction in March 2025, aims to restore the 1938 structure while introducing modern amenities and luxury facilities. The Hill Station project is a groundbreaking initiative that seeks to transform hospitality and tourism in Plateau State, aiming to create a destination that integrates luxury, culture, and nature. The project, which is part of an investment drive in Plateau's future, is set to attract businesses and leisure travelers while preserving the unique identity of the historic site. Microsoft has announced a $1 million initiative to equip 1 million Nigerians with artificial intelligence AI skills for the next 2 years. The initiative aims to train Nigerian youths to earn a sustainable livelihood and compete globally. Microsoft's country manager for Nigeria and Ghana, Ola Williams, announced the investment during the Microsoft AI Tour in Lagos. The training will equip Nigerian youths with the necessary skills to build solutions and businesses on AI, providing them with sustainable means of livelihood and allowing them to compete globally. The initiative aims to ensure everyone has access to the right skill required to use AI effectively. And finally, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced levies on major trading partners, including China's steel and aluminum imports, to combat unfair practices and influence policy. He pledged 10% duties on all goods from China and 25% on steel and aluminum products. Trump also announced that the automobile tariff will be around 25%, with specifics expected around April 2, 2024. He also threatened higher tariffs on pharmaceuticals and chips, stating that they will be 25% and higher over a year. He also urged affected companies to allow time to return to the U.S. Experts have warned that Americans often end up paying the cost of import tariffs, as about 50% of cars sold in the U.S. are manufactured within the country. And that's all on Business News Package tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Ella Okede.
Nigerian singer Arya Star achieved a historic double win at the 2025 MOB Award in Newcastle. She became the first woman to win the Best African Act Award in 16 years, beating out strong competition including Asake, Rema, Tems, Burna Boy, and Tyler. Star has secured the Best International Act Award, a significant victory over global music icons like Beyoncé, Nicki Minaj, Kendrick Lamar, Megan Thee Stallion, Tems, and others. Omami Aloba, the widow of late Nigerian musician Mohbad, has publicly stated that she and her 1-year-old son are facing serious threats to their safety. In a recent interview, she claimed to be receiving daily death threats and alleges that she was attacked by Naira Marley and his associates. Aloba also accused her father-in-law of attempting to control Mohbad's property and making disparaging remarks about her son. Nigerian singer Portable has turned himself in to the police. It is stated that he was declared wanted by the Ogun State Police Command on Monday, February 17th. The artist presented himself to the State Criminal Investigation Department, SCID, in Pansi, Yaba, this morning, February 19th. Portable is currently being transported to Ogun State, where he will be handed over to the police command that initially issued the warrant for his arrest. The reason for the warrant and subsequent surrender has not been officially released by the authorities.
And now the main news again. Senate summons NSA security chiefs over allegations of U.S. aid funding Boko Haram. Trump orders firing of all Biden-era U.S. attorneys. And Israeli drone attack kills one in southern Lebanon despite ceasefire deal. And that's the news now. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channels at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. You can also view us on Limex.tv and Glow TV apps anywhere in the world. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. Thank you for being there.
Literary Bar, brought to you by Dover Hotels.
Hello and welcome to the Literary Bar. How are you doing? If the Literary Bar looks a bit different today, it's because we're coming to you from the beautiful and magnificent Dover Hotel, Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. The Dover Hotel is also situated in Lekki, Nigeria. Our guest today is a man that I call a lawyer, a banker, an industrialist. But of all of these titles, the most important to me is my friend. I want you to meet the philanthropist known also as Chief Jackson Agbai, the Kukunda of Abriba.
Chinedi, thank you. Chinedi, thank you.
Ka Chief.
Ka.
Congratulations on your Ibotoma.
Thank you so much.
What's that exactly?
Ibotoma should be understood first in terms of the context. Literally, Mma is knife for machete, and then Iboto is to drop. And so, before the coming of the white man, the Abriba society had its own governance structure. And the governance structure is organized around 13 age grades. The list is when people, they join, the list is at the lowest, and then the apex is the 13th. And so, after every 4 years, the apex one will retire, and then a new one, the older one, a new one will enter, then the last one goes up until, it keeps on going up. So from the age of 18, And then by the time you are in your late 50s and 60s, you now retire. Now we must understand that in those days, societies were basically involved in organization of how do we live within ourselves. If somebody steals, how do we ensure that, or somebody commits rape, any kind of crime, how do we ensure that society is without such crimes? It fell on the laps of the age grade. The age grades ensured that the footpaths to the stream was cleared. The streams, they needed bridges, local bridges. It was the responsibility of the age grade. It was the responsibility of the age grade to protect everybody within Abriba territories against foreign invaders. We must understand that for 400 years in Africa, the only business or the main business that people did was slave trade.
They're the raw materials of the future: lithium, cobalt, and other rare earths, essential for digitalization and the energy transition. Everyone needs these materials. Some have them, others have to import them. That's expensive, but more importantly, it creates dependencies. Now the EU wants to achieve what seems impossible, breaking free from its reliance on China and other countries. But can that even be done? Also on Made Today, marble, a symbol of power and prosperity for centuries. The 4-day work week, a possible alternative to the 5-day week. And night owls, chill out during the day and be productive at night.
Lithium, cobalt, and rare earths are the oil and gas of the future. Not only China, but also the US, the EU, and the rest of the world now understands this. The EU wants to achieve the seemingly impossible and in record time. It wants to become independent of China, make up for the last several decades of raw material dependence, not antagonize the local population with drilling and mining, and at the same time mine record quantities of new raw materials from European soil. But does the EU really have a chance of achieving raw material independence? And can it meet its ambitious sustainability goals?
As a united Europe, we have to try to make ourselves more independent, i.e. to reduce our dependency on China in particular, but also on other countries when it comes to individual raw materials. And that's why the EU has now decided, for example, with the Critical Raw Materials Act, which is effectively a European raw materials law, to again invest in its own capacities, its own mining, its own processing, and its own recycling.
Lithium, rare earths, graphite, and other critical raw materials are essential for high-tech industries.
Geologically, it's interesting that we now have many of the raw materials we need for the transformation in Europe. It's just that quite a lot has been outsourced to other countries in recent decades.
That is set to change in the coming decades. Battery and processing factories are springing up in many parts of the EU, and companies and startups are working on building raw material loops for the future. New mining is being planned. Some experts are even talking about a new mining era. One example is the Rio Tinto mine in Andalusia in the south of Spain. After environmental disasters and economic decline, Andalusia's mines are now suddenly in the spotlight. Everything stood still here for many years because copper was too cheap. Now copper prices are up again, and it's worth the enormous effort to mill and dissolve just 0.38% copper from the rock. Our soil is a treasure for Andalusia and the European energy transition. The resource-rich region of Andalusia could play a decisive role in the targeted 10% of strategically important raw materials that are to come from the EU in the future.
Many projects here qualify for the EU law, partly because 17 of the 30 critical minerals are located in Andalusia.
That's why there will be new mines, but they are unlikely to create large craters in the Andalusian soil. A copper mine just 20 kilometers from Seville shows how the sector is changing. Everything is in place here for further underground mining in the future. There's still plenty of copper deep in the ground. Of course, an underground mine is less conspicuous. We believe that this is the most sensible, profitable, and sustainable way. When the mine starts operating underground again, it will no longer just be copper. The company has developed a chemical process that extracts even more from the rock, namely zinc, lead, and silver. The company also is using the pilot plant to extract cobalt from the rock with the help of bacteria. Cobalt is a vital element for e-mobility. And something is also happening in the EU when it comes to refining raw materials. In order to make progress in battery production, raw materials such as lithium are crucial. But in order to obtain battery-grade materials, the raw material has to be chemically processed. A chemical company based in Frankfurt, Germany has been building up expertise in these refining steps for 5 years in order to understand each individual step precisely and later be able to control them. They're still putting the finishing touches on what could be the largest lithium refinery in Europe. Initially, the plan was to produce 20,000 tons of lithium hydroxide per year. But since the price of lithium products has collapsed, investments are now difficult.
People are very, very cautious putting money into lithium projects at this point. Because with the current price level, it's very hard to make an investment case, actually.
But AMG received 5.5 million euros from the German state of Saxony-Anhalt for the plant there. And some European governments want to provide further funding for the development of their own raw materials infrastructure. The first contracts have already been signed with customers throughout Europe. And construction is also underway in northeastern Europe. The first plant for European production of what are called permanent magnets for EV motors is currently being built in Narva, Estonia. Such magnets are indispensable for electric motors, wind turbines, and other clean energy technologies that the EU is increasingly relying on. But here, too, there is a major challenge.
So today, about 90% of all rare earth magnetics are manufactured in China. That's a real challenge. It's a real challenge for our global OEMs. It's a real challenge for our customers. It's a real challenge for all of the global economies because of the size and impact of the automotive industry. So once you acknowledge that you can't have that type of concentration in any one single jurisdiction, you have to think through the importance of how do you diversify.
This diversification has already begun in the 100-year-old mines of the former oil shell factory in Silmet, not far from the construction site in Narva. Rare earth metals are processed here in a complex multi-stage process. These in turn are used for the production of highly sought-after permanent magnets in the electrical industry. In a few years' time, permanent magnets for 2.5 million cars are to be produced here in Narva every year. Together with the production site for rare earths in Silmet, Europe will finally become less dependent on imports from China. So much for the plan. But what are the downsides? What price will local nature and EU residents pay for the expected turbo mining in the coming decades?
We mustn't forget that the population also has to be involved. Currently, for example, there's the case of Serbia. The planned lithium project of the Australian mining company Rio Tinto has been in the news. This clearly shows what can happen when the population is ignored. The project was stopped around 2 years ago, following pressure from protests. That was because the environmental impact was deemed to be serious. And just 2 years later, the project has now been restarted.
Und nur 2 Jahre später wurde das Projekt, nachdem es gestoppt wurde, jetzt wieder ins Rollen gebracht.
What is certain, however, is that the EU not only wants to become less dependent on raw materials, it also wants to create new recycling loops.
We will never be completely self-sufficient when it comes to the supply of raw minerals. But we want to be less dependent, and we can achieve this by producing, processing, and recycling more of our own.
Whether the EU is capable of involving the local population, not harming ecological systems, and establishing a circular, self-sufficient economy remains to be seen.
Art requires marble, and great art demands a very special kind. One of the finest sources is Tuscany in Italy, where it's cut from massive quarries. We visited one to see how this prized material, used in grand palaces and elegant villas, is carefully sliced from solid rock.
At an elevation of 1,000 meters, one of the world's most precious materials is mined in Italy. Only here can you find the finest marble. Its exceptional quality was also revered by Renaissance sculptor Michelangelo. A single block can cost over 10,000 euros, and producing fine marble slabs takes several days. Italian marble has been mined in the Carrara region for over 2,000 years. But it's in the Apuan Alps region that the most expensive marble in the world is extracted. Geologist Daniele Mantovani and his team produce thousands of tons of it every year.
This is a statuario marble. It's a statuario. You can recognize the statuario because not all the white is the same white. This one, if you put against light, you see the lights passing through it. It's because of the grain, it's because of the background.
The region lies on Italy's western Mediterranean coast, and the mining rights belong to the company Enro. It can take up to 20 hours for workers to cut a piece from the rock face using huge bandsaws. Chainsaws are used for the horizontal cuts. This is what creates the blocks, which need to be tipped over to transport them. To do this, they place a cushion into the gap, which is inflated bit by bit. Wedges are used to keep the gap open while the slab is pulled over. This block weighs 120 tons. Sometimes they break because the marble cracks along the veins, but the remaining pieces can still be used. Geologists have to precisely map the different kinds of marble found on the mountain, because customers can order from a variety of patterns.
According to the projects or to the client, we need to have certain patterns, so we have to try to make the blocks the most suitable as possible for the commissions that we have. So I'm here checking all the production process for the company.
Several times a day, the blocks are transported down the valley by truck. It takes many hours to create tablets like these that decorate buildings, but more on that later. At Enro's production facility, the blocks weighing up to 60 tons are first registered. In the sawmill, they're cut into fine slabs. This process alone can take 20 hours from one morning to the next. Gino Cinquini is the head of the sawmill, and for his job, he needs not only a lot of patience, but also a lot of water. One machine requires about 1,000 liters per minute or even more. But it's recycled water. It's never used just once. It's in a cycle. It's water that gets cleaned and reused in a closed circuit. Almost all the stone saws have industrial diamonds to make them harder than marble. The next day, the cut slabs are polished. First, they receive a resin layer. This is later sanded off, but the resin fills the marble's hairline cracks and makes it smooth. They cost up to 300 euros per square meter and can be very thin, from several centimeters down to 5 millimeters. Polishing is done with brushes, rubber, and diamond tools. There are different types of marble: white, black, red, green. You need to polish each one the right way. The marble is then cut to the right shape for its purpose. These here are thin tiles. The project's on-row supplies include mosques in Abu Dhabi, corporate headquarters in the US, and luxurious floor coverings. In the final stages, the pieces are assembled based on their color patterns to make sure they look their best once they're on display. Paolo Carli is the head and owner of the 200-year-old company. Does he worry that the Marble Mountain, which his company owns, might one day be completely gone?
No, we are talking about thousands of years. So our quarry that is at the Altissimo is just a minimal extracted. You know, we are not massive consumers of blocks from our quarry.
White statuary marble is the core business of the company. Embracing the times, they've also invested in 3D technology to create art sculptures, drawing on both their manual skills and robotics. As part of their marketing strategy, the company has collaborated with renowned artists such as Hans Arp, Henry Moore, and Tony Cragg.
Arts help us to develop our modern technology. So today, Enro is the only company that represents architectural design and arts in every daily composition of our fabrication.
To nurture the next generation, the company partners with the local vocational school. Students here are working on an eye, inspired by Michelangelo's David. The sculptor also used marble from the region. The miners here are still at the summit, but they're making their way down the Marble Mountain one block at a time.
It's beautiful, elegant, and expensive, which is why you won't find it in every stairwell. But where does this extraordinary material, a staple of grand palaces, actually come from? It's a story that began long ago.
As early as 700 BC, marble symbolized power and prosperity, the white gold of stone. Formed over thousands of years, marble results from tectonic pressure and heat transforming limestone and other sediments deep within the earth. This process creates its signature patterns. The name marble comes from the ancient Greek word marmoros, meaning shimmering or shining. That's why marble is often used for sculptures. The way it reflects light brings them to life. The first marble was quarried on Greek islands like Paros. The Venus de Milo was carved from Parian marble. Marble has also long been used in the construction of grand buildings, from the Egyptian pyramids to the Acropolis in Athens and Ashgabat, the capital of Turkmenistan. Here, an entire city was built from white marble. The most prized white marble has been quarried in Carrara, Italy, since around 200 BC and was used for Michelangelo's David. But marble doesn't always have to be expensive. It's available from China or India for just a few euros per square metre. This marble is often used for surfaces like table legs and tops. Many are simply a cheaper stone with a marble-like finish. Marbling has also become trendy as a print pattern, including in the fashion industry. And finally, in honour of marble, there's a classic of a different kind, the world-famous marble cake.
A 4-day work week with full pay sounds great, but is it realistic? A German pilot study with 45 companies put it to the test. The result? In many